The office lights buzzed overhead as I pushed the door open. I thought I was the last one here, but voices echoed inside the conference room. "Ethan's not here yet," Richard's deep voice said. "But you are." My steps slowed. I knew that voice too well. I knew the softer one that followed even better. "Richard, this feels wrong," Sophia whispered. "Wrong." My chest tightened. What the hell was she doing here at my office at this hour? I pushed the door wider, and Richard turned toward me, a smug grin cutting across his face. He lifted a finger, pointing at Sophia like she was some prize. "Tonight, she's mine." I froze. His words hammered into me. Sophia met my eyes. Her lips trembled. For a second, I thought she'd deny it, explain, save me from this nightmare. Instead, she lowered her gaze and whispered, "I agree." The room spun. You what?" My voice cracked. She finally looked at me, her eyes cold. I said, "I agree, Ethan." I stepped closer, searching her face, desperate for some sign this was a joke. "Sophia, stop. Tell me you're not serious. You're my wife. What are you saying?" Richard chuckled. "She's saying what you refuse to admit. She's tired of you, Cole. Tired of your small life. Tired of being invisible." I shook my head, fists clenching. "You shut your mouth." "No," Sophia snapped, surprising me. "He's right. You never see me, Ethan. You bury yourself in files and deadlines. Do you know when you last asked me how I felt? Do you remember? The last time you actually touched me?" Her words sliced through me, sharper than any blade. "So your answer is him, my boss. That's your solution." "He offers me more than you ever could," she shot back, her voice trembling but steady. "Enough to kill me." Richard smirked, stepping closer. "Face it, she's choosing a man who knows her worth, someone who isn't afraid to take what he wants." I glared at him. "You're using her." "Using," he laughed. "No, Ethan. I'm saving her from a life of mediocrity." I turned to Sophia, my throat burning. "And you believe that? After everything we've been through? After the nights we starved together, the years we fought to climb up? None of it means anything to you?" Her eyes watered, but she didn't waver. "It's not enough anymore." The silence that followed was unbearable. My heart thundered in my ears, my hands shaking at my sides. Richard placed his arm around her shoulders like he already owned her. "Don't drag this out. She's made her choice." I stared at Sophia. "So that's it? After all these years, you throw me away for him?" she whispered, almost too low to hear. "I'm sorry, Ethan." I stumbled back a step. "Sorry. Sorry for ending my life in a single breath." "Don't apologize to him," Richard said, smirking. "He'll survive. Weak men always do." I wanted to lunge at him, to wipe that grin off his face, but my legs wouldn't move. My voice broke instead. "Sophia, please, don't do this." Her jaw tightened. "I already have." Richard pulled her toward the door. She didn't resist. Stood rooted, watching them walk past me, my chest caving in, my world splitting apart as they reached the hall. Richard turned his head, mocking me one last time. "Thanks for the promotion, Cole. I'll take care of her from here." The door slammed behind them. Silence. I dropped into a chair, my hands gripping the edge of the table. My breaths came shallow, ragged. Every memory of her laughter, her touch, her promises flashed before me and dissolved into ashes. "She said yes," I muttered, shaking my head. She really said yes. The clock ticked on the wall, each second heavier than the last. I pressed my palms to my face, heat searing my eyes. I couldn't scream, I couldn't cry. All I could do was sit there, shattered. After what felt like hours, I forced myself to my feet and staggered out. My steps echoed through the empty hallway, mocking me. When I reached the parking lot, the night air hit me, cold and sharp. I stared at the dark sky and whispered, "Why? Why me?" No answer came. I climbed into my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles burned. Images of Sophia leaning into Richard replayed over and over. I slammed my fist against the dashboard, the sound echoing like a gunshot. "I'll never forgive you," I swore under my breath. "Neither of you." The drive home was a blur. Every red light felt like an eternity. Every passing car like a cruel reminder that the world was still moving while mine had stopped. When I finally stumbled inside my apartment, the silence screamed louder than any fight. I dropped onto the couch, staring at the ceiling, the betrayal replaying in endless loops. Her voice haunted me. I agree. Those two words would never leave me. That night, lying in the dark, I made a promise. Not to her, not to him, but to myself. One day, they'd regret choosing to break me. I didn't sleep for 3 nights. Food turned to dust in my mouth. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Richard's grin and Sophia's lips forming those words. I agree. On the 4th morning, my phone buzzed. Her name lit the screen. I opened the message with shaking hands. "I'm moving in with Richard. Don't contact me." That was it. No explanation, no regret. Just a cold knife shoved deeper. The door creaked behind me. "Ethan." My mother's voice was soft, worried. I rubbed my face, trying to hide the wreck I'd become. "Morning, Mum." She stepped closer. "You haven't eaten. You're thinner already. Please, sit down and eat something." "I'm fine," I muttered. "You're not." She pulled out a chair and sat across from me. "Talk to me. Don't let it rot inside you." "What do you want me to say?" That my wife chose my boss. That she walked out like I was nothing. My voice broke. There's nothing left to say. Her hand reached across the table, warm against mine. "There's always something left. You still have me. You still have a future, even if you don't see it yet." I laughed bitterly. "Future? Mum, I don't even know how to breathe without her face haunting me." Her eyes filled with tears, but she stayed calm. "Then let the pain teach you. Don't let it destroy you." The knock on the door interrupted us. I dragged myself up and opened it to find Daniel standing there, arms crossed, eyes blazing. "Jesus, Ethan," he muttered, stepping inside. "You look like hell." "Thanks," I said dryly. He ignored my tone. "I heard what happened. Is it true? She really left you for Cain?" I swallowed hard. "Yeah, right in front of me." He slammed his fist against the wall. "That bastard, I always knew he was a snake. And her. Damn, Ethan, after all you gave her. How could she?" I sank onto the couch. I keep asking myself that. But I don't get answers. Just silence. Daniel sat across from me, leaning forward. "You can't let this break you. You hear me? Don't give them that satisfaction." I shook my head. "It already did. I'm hollow, Daniel. I'm nothing." He leaned closer, voice sharp. "No, you're not nothing. You're Ethan Cole. You built your career from scratch. You bled for it. You carried her through every storm. You think you're weak. You're stronger than both of them combined." I stared at the floor. "Strength doesn't matter when your heart's gone," he exhaled, frustration clear. Then, Make your strength matter. Don't sit here drowning. Fight back. Take everything from Cain the way he took from you. My mother's voice cut in. Daniel, no, Margaret, he needs to hear this. Sitting here like a ghost won't heal him. He has to rise. She frowned but stayed quiet. Daniel looked me dead in the eyes. You going to let them walk away laughing? Or are you going to remind them who you are? The question stabbed me. I opened my mouth, but no words came. Finally, I whispered, I don't know if I have anything left to fight with. Then borrow mine, he snapped. I'll stand by you, but you've got to want it. Silence settled again. My mother brushed a tear from her cheek. Revenge won't heal your heart, she said softly. But maybe proving your worth will. I looked at her, then at Daniel. Their faces blurred through my exhaustion, but their voices echoed in me. My chest ached, hollow, broken, but deep inside the faintest spark flickered. I don't know how, I whispered. Daniel's lips curved into a grim smile. Good, because I do. For the first time since that night, I felt something other than pain. It wasn't peace. It wasn't hope. It was fire, small but alive. They thought I was finished. They thought I'd crawl into the dark and never rise again. But maybe, just maybe, they'd underestimated me. The office was louder than usual. I stepped in and felt every pair of eyes shift toward me. Whispers buzzed like flies. Then I saw them, Richard and Sophia, hand in hand, strolling through the floor as if they owned it. Richard grinned, mourning. Cole, late again. No wonder your wife wanted an upgrade. Laughter rippled across the room. Sophia smirked, not even meeting my eyes. My throat tightened, but I forced myself to speak. You really enjoy humiliating me in public, don't you? Humiliating. Richard leaned closer, his voice dripping mockery. I'm celebrating. She's mine now, and I don't hide what belongs to me. Sophia squeezed his hand. Stop, Richard, she said lightly. Don't waste time on him. Her words stabbed harder than the stairs around me. I clenched my fists, swallowing the fire burning in my chest. Behind me, a quiet voice whispered, Ignore them. I turned and found Olivia standing by the copier, her eyes soft with sympathy. She looked away quickly, afraid to be seen defending me. Richard chuckled, loud enough for the whole office. That's the look of a loser, Cole. Better get used to it. I bit down on my anger and walked past them without a word. But inside, the shame boiled into something sharper. Later, as I passed the glass wall of his office, I heard Richard's booming laugh. I paused. Don't worry, he was saying to another manager. The auditors won't find a thing. I've got half the board eating from my hand. Those shell contracts, they'll never trace them. By the time anyone notices, the money will be in Dubai. My pulse quickened. The manager asked nervously, what if someone leaks it? Richard scoffed. Who? Cole? He's too broken to tie his own shoes. He couldn't hurt me if he tried. Their laughter echoed. I gripped the wall, my humiliation burning hotter, transforming. Broken, maybe, but blind. No, I walked away, my mind racing. At my desk, Olivia leaned over cautiously. Ethan, she whispered, don't let him get to you. I forced a weak smile. He already has. She hesitated, then added, I've heard things about his contracts, about the offshore transfers. I stay quiet, but I cut her off. You don't need to say more. She nodded, relief flickering across her face. Just be careful. I lowered my voice. Thank you, Olivia. Really. She returned to her work, but her glance lingered, as if she wanted me to know I wasn't completely alone. The rest of the day was torture. Richard paraded Sophia through meetings, placing his hand on her knee, whispering jokes in her ear, letting everyone see. Every laugh from them was a dagger. Every look from my co-workers was pity or mockery. By evening, I couldn't breathe in that place anymore. I left the building, my steps heavy but my thoughts sharper than they'd been in weeks. Daniel's words echoed in my head. Fight back. Take everything from him. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel. My reflection in the window looked hollow, lifeless, but beneath the emptiness, I saw something else. Fire. They thought I was finished. They thought I was too broken to strike. But Richard's arrogance had opened a door. He bragged because he thought I was powerless. He mocked me because he believed I was weak. That was his mistake. I whispered to myself, if they wanted war, I'll give them one. The humiliation was no longer just pen, it was fuel. The fire had finally been lit. Daniel leaned over my laptop, eyes narrowing at the screen. You're telling me this folder was just sitting on his server? Hidden, I muttered, tapping. The keys, but not locked well enough. Richard thinks no one's looking. Daniel whistled low. Shell companies, false invoices, offshore accounts. Damn, Ethan, this isn't small-time fraud. This is prison time. I leaned back, my hands trembling. I knew he was dirty, but seeing it, it's worse than I imagined. He looked at me. So, what's the plan? You want to dump this online? Send it to the feds? Not yet, I said. I need it airtight. If I move too soon, he'll bury me. Daniel smirked. I like this version of you. Cold, calculated. Shook my head. Don't mistake this for strength. I'm still bleeding, Daniel, every night, but this gives me purpose. My phone buzzed on the table. I glanced at the screen. Sophia. Another message. Pathetic. Richard says, you still look like a ghost at work. Maybe try smiling so people don't pity you. My stomach knotted. I handed the phone to Daniel, read it. He frowned. She's enjoying this. She wants to keep you down. I clenched my jaw. Every insult is fuel. She doesn't even realize. She's building the fire. Daniel leaned forward. Then let's burn them both. The next morning, I dragged myself into the office, shoulders slumped, eyes hollow. Richard spotted me across the hall and smirked. Cole, he called out, his voice dripping with mock pity. Don't work too hard. Wouldn't want you collapsing. Before payday. Sophia giggled at his side. He's fine. That's his natural state. I let my lips twitch into a weak smile, murmured something unintelligible, and shuffled past. Inside, though, my mind was racing. Every laugh, every insult, every cruel glance only sharpened my resolve at my desk. Olivia appeared, whispering, You're playing along, aren't you? I raised an eyebrow. What makes you think that? Her eyes flicked toward Richard's. Offers. Because no one survives humiliation like this without breaking. Unless they're hiding something. I leaned closer. Then keep my secret. She nodded quickly. You can count on me. That night, Daniel sat across from me again, scrolling through files. This contract alone, he muttered, is worth millions laundered. Fake vendors, false signatures. Ethan, you're sitting on a goldmine of evidence. I rubbed my temples. It's not enough. I want more. I want everything. Emails, recordings, Transfers. I don't just want to hurt him. I want to end him. Daniel grinned. That's the Ethan I know. I looked him in the eye. You don't know this, Ethan. Not yet. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Sophia. You're too weak to fight him. Accept it. Move on. I showed Daniel the text. He scoffed. She doesn't know you at all. I stared at the screen, my voice low. She will. Over the next week, I perfected the act. I walked into meetings with slumped shoulders. I answered questions with shaky voices. Richard laughed. Sophia smirked. The staff whispered and I kept collecting. Richard bragged openly on calls, never imagining I was recording. I mirrored files, tracked transactions, photographed documents when no one looked. One evening, Olivia caught me near the copier with a stack of papers. She whispered, "You're risking your job." I whispered back, "I'm risking my soul, but it's worth it." She held my gaze for a second, then nodded, "Be careful." By the end of the month, I had folders stacked high with his sins. Daniel organized them, catalogued every detail. He looked at me one night, eyes wide. "Ethan, this is enough to destroy him 10 times over." I shook my head. "Not yet. I want him desperate. I want him to feel the walls close in before I crush him." Daniel studied me. "You've changed." I stared at the glowing screen. "No, I've finally woken up." As I lay in bed that night, Sophia's last text replayed in my head. "You're too weak to fight him." I whispered into the dark, "Watch me." For the first time since Betrayal, I didn't feel broken. I felt alive. The knock on my door was sharp, almost mocking. I opened it, and there she was, Sophia, standing like she owned the place. "Well," she said, smirking, "you look as miserable as Richard said you would." I folded my arms. "Why are you?" Here she pulled a folder from her bag and tossed it onto my table. "Divorce papers. Sign them. Let's make this official." I stared at the folder, my chest tightening. "You couldn't have mailed them. I wanted to see your face." She said, "I wanted to watch the moment you realized it's over." I clenched my fists. "It was over the day you left." She laughed, a cold sound. "You're right, and thank God I did. Richard is twice the man you'll ever be." My jaw locked, but I forced my voice to stay steady. "Twice the man. The same Richard who hides money in fake accounts. That's your standard." Her eyes narrowed. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know enough," I said. "More than you think." She tilted her head. "Still pretending you're strong. Huh, you're pathetic. Sign the damn papers." I sat down, flipping through the documents. "You seem nervous." "Nervous," she scoffed. "Please. I'm happy. I'm moving on. You're just a sad reminder of my mistakes." I picked up the pen. "Then why bother coming yourself? Why not let your lawyer handle it?" Her smirk faltered for a second, then returned. "Because I wanted to watch you break. You always break." I signed the first page, slowly, deliberately. "Not this time." She leaned over. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said calmly, "I'm done playing the victim." She rolled her eyes. "You please, you'll always be the weak one. Richard wins, I win, and you rot here alone." I slid the signed papers across the table. "Take them, then. Congratulations, you freed me." Her smirk faded. "Freed you, yes." I met her gaze. "You just cut the last chain holding me back. Now I owe you nothing." She studied me, unsettled. "You're bluffing." I shook my head. No, I'm clear for the first time in months. She snatched the folder, her voice rising. Richard will crush you if you try anything. He has power you can't even imagine. I stood, towering over her. Then let him try. I've already survived the worst. She scoffed, though her eyes flickered with unease. You think you're dangerous? You couldn't even keep me. I stepped closer. You'll wish you had. Her lips tightened. Empty words. I smiled faintly. Keep telling yourself that. For a moment, silence filled the room. She shifted uncomfortably, clutching the papers like a shield. Finally, she muttered, "Enjoy your empty apartment, Ethan." I opened the door. "Enjoy your borrowed empire, Sophia." She stormed out, her heels striking hard against the hallway floor. When the door closed, I exhaled, my pulse steady for once. The rage was still there, but it was no longer chaos, it was direction. Daniel's words echoed in my head. Let's burn them both. I whispered into the silence. Now it begins. When Clara picked up the encrypted call, her voice was crisp. Who is this? Someone with information you've been chasing? I whispered. Information or empty talk? She pressed. Proof, I said. Contracts, fraudulent ones. Richard Hale's name is all over them. Her tone sharpened. How do I know this isn't a setup? You'll know when you see them. A pause, then send everything. I transferred the files. My hands shook, but my voice stayed steady. You'll publish, if they're real, she replied. I'll burn him to the ground. I smiled faintly. That's all I wanted to hear. The next morning, the office buzzed like a hornet's nest. People whispered in clusters, their eyes darting toward Richard's office. What's happening? Olivia whispered to me at the copier. I kept my expression blank. No idea. She leaned closer. I heard investigators are here. Something about contracts. Before I could answer, heavy footsteps thundered through the hall. Suited officials strode in, flashing badges. One barked, "Where's Richard Hale?" Richard stormed out, red-faced. "What the hell is this?" "Mr. Hale," the lead agent said firmly, "we have a warrant. Step aside. This is outrageous," Richard roared. "I built this company. You can't just..." The agent cut him off. "We can, and we will." Employees gasped. Some pulled out phones. Olivia's hand brushed mine under the desk. "Did you?" she mouthed. I gave the slightest shake of my head. Sophia appeared, gripping Richard's arm. "Richard, what's happening?" "Nothing I can't handle," he snapped. But I saw it, the flicker of fear in his eyes. In the chaos, I stayed quiet. Watching, desks were searched, files pulled. The air filled with the sound of paper shuffling and muttered accusations. Richard shoved an agent's arm. "You have no right," the agent shot back. "Touch me again, and I'll have you removed." "In cuffs?" Sophia's voice wavered. "Richard, maybe we should cooperate." "Shut up," he barked. She flinched, but clung tighter to his sleeve. Olivia whispered to me, "You're enjoying this." I kept my eyes forward. "Maybe, Ethan," she hissed. "This looks bad for him, really bad." I allowed myself a thin smile. Good. Hours later, after the investigators left with boxes of evidence, Richard called an emergency meeting. His voice thundered across the room. "Listen to me. This is nothing. A smear campaign. Some rat leaked false documents." Sophia sat beside him, pale. "Richard, what if he slammed his fist on the table?" "There is no what if." Murmurs spread. Doubt was in the air. I raised my hand slowly. "Richard, If it's false, then it'll blow over, right? His glare could have cut glass. Sit down, Ethan. I lowered my hand, forcing an innocent look. Inside, I savored every second dot. Sophia whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "We'll fight this. We always win." But her voice trembled. That night, Clara called me. "Your files checked out. We ran them through 3 experts. It's airtight." "Then tomorrow?" I asked. "Tomorrow," she confirmed. "It goes public. Brace yourself, this will explode." I stared out my window. At the city lights. "Good, let it." She hesitated. "Why are you doing this?" "Because some people only learn when everything burns," I said. Clara's voice softened. "Then light the match." The next morning, headlines screamed across every screen. Richard Hale, under investigation for fraud at the office. Silence ruled. Everyone scrolled their phones, stealing glances at Richard's closed door. Olivia leaned in, whispering, "You did this, didn't you?" I didn't answer. She studied me, then whispered, "Good. He deserves it." Across the room, Richard emerged, pale and furious. Sophia clung to him, whispering frantically. His eyes swept the office, wild and searching. But when they landed on me, he saw nothing but a quiet employee, shuffling papers. Inside, though, I felt the power balance, tipping for the first time, and it was only the beginning. The news cycle hammered Richard's name like a drumbeat. Every headline screamed betrayal, fraud, collapse. At the office, whispers turned into open mockery. His empire was rotting. Fast. Olivia leaned over my desk. "Did you see the latest? 3 investors just pulled out." I didn't look up. "Only 3, she smirked. "Give it a day, the rest will follow." From Richard's office came the sound of shouting. His voice cracked through the glass walls. "I don't care what the press says. Get me those contracts back." A second later, the door slammed. Sophia followed him out, her heels clicking, like frantic heartbeats. She caught sight of me and froze. "Ethan," she said softly. I glanced at her, then back at my screen. Busy. Her lips parted, but no words came. She turned and hurried after Richard. That night, my phone buzzed with her name. I let it ring until it died. Then again and again. Finally, Olivia asked from across the couch, "You're not going to answer her?" "No, she sounds desperate." "Good." Olivia studied me carefully. "Does ignoring her help?" "It helps more than screaming ever would." The next morning, chaos had a new face. A crowd of journalists gathered outside the building. Cameras flashed as Richard stormed through the lobby. "Out of my way," he barked. Sophia trailed him, sunglasses, hiding swollen eyes. One reporter shouted, "Mr. Hale, investors claim you falsified contract scare to comment." "Lies," Richard yelled. "All lies." I stood among employees, watching from the mezzanine. Whispers swelled. "He's finished. Can you believe Sophia's still with him? She looks terrified." I caught Sophia's eyes for a split second. She opened her mouth, almost pleading. I turned away. Back at my desk, Olivia whispered, "She's been trying to reach you, hasn't she?" I nodded once. "And you're just done?" "Yes. After everything she did, you don't even want to hear her beg." "She chose him," I said flatly. "Now she gets to live with that choice." Olivia exhaled slowly. Harsh truth. Later, during lunch, Olivia sat across from me in the cafeteria. Her voice was quiet, almost trembling. "I need to tell you something." I set my fork down. What? She twisted her napkin. I knew about Richard's corruption. For years, I stared at her. You what? I saw things. Shell companies. Fake invoices. I wanted to speak up, but she swallowed. I was scared. He threatened people. I thought if I kept my head down, I'd be safe. Safe, my voice rose. While he walked all over everyone, her eyes filled. I know, I hate myself for it. But seeing you fight back, she wiped her cheek. You made me realize silence makes me complicit. I don't want to be that person anymore. I leaned back, letting her words sink in. Why? Tell me now, because you're not alone in this. And neither am I. I want to help however I can. For the first time, I felt the weight lift slightly. I wasn't the only one carrying the fight. That evening, another call came from Sophia. I let it ring, then tossed the phone on the table. Olivia raised a brow. You're relentless. I chuckled darkly. She used to mock me for being weak. Now she's choking on silence. Maybe that's worse than anything you could say to her. Exactly. The phone buzzed again, this time with a text. I glanced at it. Please, just hear me out. I locked the screen without replying. The next day, the inevitable happened. Richard's biggest investor, the one propping up the entire operation, announced they were cutting ties. The office was a funeral home. Richard stormed in, face pale, hair wild. Traitors, every last one of them. Sophia trailed him, clutching, her purse like it might anchor her drowning world. She stopped near my desk. Ethan, please. I kept typing. I don't have time, Sophia. Her voice cracked. Everything's falling apart. Richard, he's not who I thought he was. I looked up, meeting her eyes. Neither were you. Her face crumpled. I made a mistake. You made dozens, I said evenly. This one just happens to cost you everything. Richard barked from across the room. Sophia, stop groveling. Let's go. She flinched, then followed him like a shadow. Olivia whispered from behind me. That felt good, didn't it? I allowed myself the faintest smile. More than I expected. That night, Clara called again. Your silence is working better than my articles. Sophia's unraveling. Sources say she's terrified. She should be. Clara laughed softly. You're cold. No, I said. Just done being their victim. When I hung up, Olivia looked at me. So what now? Now? I leaned back, feeling calm for the first time in years. Now we keep watching. Let karma finish the job. She nodded slowly. And you're not afraid of what comes next? I thought of Richard's fury, Sophia's crumbling mask, the empire collapsing brick by brick. For once, I didn't feel fear. I felt alive. Karma's knocking, I said, and they finally have to open the door. The garage was quiet except for the echo of my footsteps. I unlocked my car, but before I could open the door, I heard heavy boots behind me. Ethan, I turned slowly. Richard's face was flushed, veins standing out in his neck. Sophia lingered a few steps back, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. You think you're clever, don't you? Richard growled. I leaned against my car door. Clever enough, his jaw clenched. I know it's you. You're the one leaking everything. I smiled faintly. You've ruined yourself. He stepped closer, fists balled. Don't play games with me. Do you have any idea who I am? Everyone does now, I said. Fraud, liar, finished. His teeth ground audibly. You're going to regret this. Funny, I replied. That's exactly what your investors are saying to you. Sophia shifted nervously behind him. Richard, please. He spun on her. Shut up, then back at me. She told me you'd never have the guts. I raised a brow. Sophia said that. Her lips parted, but she didn't answer. Richard sneered. She told me you'd break the second I pushed you. Look at you now, pretending you've won. I met his stare. No pretending. You lost the moment you believed you were untouchable. He lunged forward, grabbing my collar. You think you're better than me. I didn't flinch. No, I just think I'm free of you. His breath was hot and sour, his eyes wild. For a second, I thought he might actually hit me. Then Sophia's trembling voice cut through. Richard, stop. People will hear. Let them, he snarled, tightening his grip. I whispered, steady, go ahead. One more mistake for the cameras. His fingers twitched, then released. He shoved me back against the car. You'll pay for this. I straightened my jacket. You already are. Sophia stepped closer, voice breaking. Ethan, I held up a hand. Don't. Her eyes watered. I didn't know it would come to this. You knew exactly who he was, I said, coldly. You just didn't care until the money ran dry. She flinched like I'd struck her. Richard barked a laugh. See, even he knows what you are. Quiet, I snapped at him. You don't get to talk. His face twisted with rage. You think you've taken everything from me? No, I said calmly. You did that to yourself. I just held up a mirror. He leaned in, whispering through clenched teeth. I'll rebuild. I'll come back stronger. And when I do, you'll crawl, I chuckled. Keep dreaming. You can't rebuild ashes. Sophia's voice trembled. Richard, let's just go, please. He ignored her. This isn't over, Ethan. Yes, it is, I said, stepping past him. He blocked my path. Walk away and you'll regret it. I stared straight into his bloodshot eyes. No. Walk away and I finally win. For a moment, silence filled the garage. His chest heaved. His fists tightened, but he didn't move. Sophia whispered, almost to herself, what have we done? I glanced at her. For the first time, I didn't see love in her eyes, or hate, just regret. I opened my car door. You made your choice. Now live with it. Richard spat on the ground. Coward. I got in, started the engine, and looked at him one last time. No survivor. Then I pulled out, leaving them both standing in the dim light. As I drove away, my pulse slowed. For the first time, I realized something. Richard's rage didn't scare me anymore. Sophia's regret didn't matter. Their empire had already crumbled, and I didn't need revenge to finish the job. Walking away was enough. The news broke before sunrise. Richard Hale arrested on multiple counts of fraud and tax evasion. The anchor's voice echoed from the small TV in my kitchen. I leaned back in my chair, coffee untouched, and whispered, finally, by noon, the city was buzzing. At work, whispers carried through every hallway. Did you hear? They raided his penthouse too. His accounts are frozen. He's finished. I walked past them all, silent, a quiet satisfaction building inside. Me, that evening, a knock rattled my apartment door. I opened it. Sophia stood there, hair unkempt, mascara streaking down her cheeks. No diamonds, no designer bag, just a trembling mess. Ethan, her voice cracked. I kept my tone flat. What do you want? Her hands shook as she reached for me. Made a mistake. Please, let me in. I didn't move. Why now? Tears streamed down her face. Because everything's gone. The house, the car's gone, even my clothes were seized. I have nothing. I held the doorframe tighter. You still have Richard? Her face twisted. He's in prison. Do you understand? Prison. They dragged him away in handcuffs. I can't survive like this. I let silence stretch. My chest ached, but I forced the words out. You chose him. I chose wrong. She sobbed. I thought he could give me everything, but he gave me nothing but shame. I shook my head slowly. No, he gave you exactly what you wanted, until it vanished. She stepped closer, desperation in her eyes. Ethan, I loved you. I still love you. Please, let me come back. I'll be different this time. I almost laughed. Different, or just broke. Her lips trembled. Don't say that. You know me better than anyone. You know my heart. I clenched my fists, fighting the pull of old memories. I knew your heart. Then you handed it to him. She whispered, I was stupid. Blinded by money, by promises. I see that now. Please, forgive me. I stared at her. Part of me wanted to pull her in, to erase the last year and pretend nothing had happened. But another part, sharper, kept me steady. You made your choice, I said. Now live with it. Her face crumpled. Ethan, please don't. Shut me out like this. I can't do it alone. You should have thought of that when you walked away. I thought you'd wait for me. She cried, my voice hardened. I did wait. I waited while you smiled on his arm. I waited while you flaunted your new life. I waited until the waiting broke me. She reached again, but I stepped back. Don't, I warned. Her hand froze midair. So that's it. You're just going to throw me out like garbage. I exhaled slowly. No, Sophia. You threw yourself out when you left. Her sobs filled the hallway. Neighbors peeked through cracked doors, watching the fallen queen beg. She didn't notice, or maybe she didn't care. I have nowhere to go, she whispered. That's not my problem anymore. Her eyes widened, hurt cutting deep. You don't mean that. I do. She staggered back, clutching the wall. Ethan, I love you. I shut my eyes for a second, then opened them with steel. No, you love what I represent: stability, forgiveness, safety. But you don't love me. Not anymore. Her voice broke into a whisper. Then who am I without you? I opened the door wider, not to let her in, but to let her out. That's for you to find out. She stared at me, silent tears spilling, before finally stepping away. As the elevator doors closed on her, my chest ached with the weight of it all. But beneath the ache was clarity. Richard had fallen. Sophia had nothing, and me. I was still standing. For the first time, I felt like I was truly rising. I sat in the quiet of my new office, sunlight spilling across the desk. The skyline stretched before me, clean sharp, promising. Daniel leaned against the doorframe, grinning. You realize this is ours now, he said. I smiled faintly. It still feels unreal. He walked in, dropping a folder on my desk. No, it's real. Clients are already calling. They want you, Ethan, not the old company. You. I traced the edge of the folder, breathing slowly. Funny. A year ago, I thought I was finished. Daniel shrugged. You were finished with them, not with life. The phone buzzed once, then stopped. I glanced at it. A familiar number, Sophia. I flipped it, face down. Daniel noticed. Still calling, every few days. I muttered. But I don't answer. Not anymore. He nodded. Good. She made her bed. Silence hung for a moment. Then Olivia entered. With 2 coffees. First official board meeting, she said, sliding one across the desk. I chuckled. Board of 3. She raised a brow. Every empire starts somewhere. I took a sip, warmth spreading through me. Empire, that word, doesn't scare me anymore. Daniel tapped the desk. It shouldn't. We're building something better. No lies, no fraud, no corruption. Olivia added softly. No betrayal. I glanced at her, and she held my gaze. I remembered the night she confessed she'd known Richard's corruption, but was too afraid to speak. I didn't resent her. Fear had ruled all of us once, but not anymore. Do you ever think, I asked, that maybe we needed the fire? That without it, we wouldn't be here? Olivia leaned forward. You mean Richard and Sophia? Yes, I said quietly. Them, what they did, what they took. Daniel folded his arms. I'll never thank them, if that's what you're asking. I'm not thanking them, I replied, but I can't ignore the truth. They tried to burn me down. Instead, they forged me. Olivia whispered, You're stronger now. I nodded slowly. Not just stronger, different. I don't chase approval anymore. I don't wait for love that isn't real. I know who I am. Daniel smirked. A stubborn bastard who doesn't quit. I laughed for the first time that day. Exactly. The phone buzzed again, persistent this time. I ignored it. Olivia glanced at the screen. Her again, she asked. Yeah. What if she shows up here? Then she'll see what she lost, I said simply. Daniel's voice sharpened. And Richard? He's still behind bars, I answered. But honestly, he's irrelevant now. His empire's gone. His name's mud. He destroyed himself. Daniel's eyes glinted. But you're rising. I leaned back, exhaling. Not just rising, rebuilding on my own terms. For a moment, the 3 of us sat in silence, each lost in thought. The hum of the city seeped in through the glass. Olivia broke it softly. You ever regret it? Loving her. My throat tightened. Every day, I admitted. But I also don't, because that pain forced me to grow. It carved out who I am now. Daniel pointed at me. That's what I'm saying. You turned their betrayal into fuel. That's what makes you dangerous. I stared out at the skyline, letting his words sink in. Dangerous. Maybe I was. Not to hurt, but to build, to endure, to rise, I whispered. They gave me hell, and I built an empire from its ashes. Olivia smiled faintly. That sounds like the man you were always meant to be. I turned back to them, my partners, my allies. No more looking back. From this moment, we focus on the future. Daniel raised his coffee cup. To the future then. Olivia lifted hers. To the empire, I raised mine last. To the man I became. Our cups clinked together, a sound. Small yet thunderous in my chest. Later, when they left, I lingered in the office alone. My reflection stared back at me from the glass. The man in the window wasn't the broken husband anymore. Not the betrayed friend. Not the abandoned fool. He was something else. The phone buzzed once more, Sophia's name flashing across the screen. I watched it vibrate, then finally fade to silence. I didn't answer. I wouldn't answer. Instead, I whispered to the empty room, thank you for teaching me what I'll never be again. The city lights flickered on, one by one, illuminating the horizon, and for the first time in years, I felt completely free.